Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Coach Angel from Angel's Bedrock Coaching Services, and this is my blog. I'm getting back into my series that I started, which is following me along on my Wild Fit 90 challenge. We're on Friday of week 10, which is day 68, and there are enhancements this week. I know I've taken the past few episodes and talked specifically about different areas I feel are important to me within my overall health journey. But I wanted to really get back to the foundation of the Wild Fit principles, where we are so far, and why we spent so much time within the spring season. So let's start with the psychology. Wild Fit is about creating a new lifestyle for yourself. It's not about dieting. There is no more dieting. It's removing that diet mentality, creating food freedom for yourself. By understanding the psychology, we walked through within the first few weeks tools that you will use for a lifetime. You will use that dialogue in your head. You will use that timeline. You will use identifying those 6 human hungers and what is driving those decisions to eat every day. All right, maybe not every day, but you will use them and can frequent them often. We then learned how to start nourishing our body, what our body needs: water, air with the breathing and lowering our cortisol levels, as well as feeding it nourishment that it's so been longing for. Fruits and vegetables, the alkagizers, just getting in an influx of all those nutrients, because it's far more important to get in those nutrients than it is to eliminate the bad. However, that takes us to the next one, which is we identified those non-functional foods. We identified how sugar is in everything, and refined sugars and all those different 65 names of sugars. We've identified chemicals and flavorings and preservatives all in our foods, creating that desire to have even more. We even talked about the newer foods, health foods per se, that have been introduced to us as a species, like grains and dairy products. Once we learned about all of those, we then slowly were eliminating them. We're doing an elimination challenge to see how we can detox our body. So we are choop, 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 and slowly we stepped away from some of those to see how our body would feel without them. At that point, we decided, okay, we're now just eating nourishment, but let's get ourselves into a spring season of Wild Fit, which means we started removing then those sugary foods from the natural sources, like our fruits. We got into a deep spring. Now, we spent a long time in deep spring, and the reason behind that is most of us have never learned how to be in fat burning mode. We have never been in that state. Our bodies were unfamiliar with this. It was uncertain about that. It creates stress in us. Again, we got to lower that cortisol, create that new path for ourselves, learning that it is okay to be a fat burner. Once we got to that state, we've been in here for several weeks. Within the Wild Fit program, we're now going to be learning about heading into summer, how to shift from being in Wild Fit spring into Wild Fit summer. But before I talk about that even, I want to point out that during the challenge, we're in a deep spring. This is a challenge level spring. It's not how you would visit spring when you're living Wild Fit and making it part of your lifestyle. Now, you may have days like that, but it was a very harsh spring because we were trying to get you and teach your body what that fat burning meant. A natural spring is something that incorporates more root vegetables like carrots and parsnips. And it would incorporate things like maybe occasionally some nightshades. But again, nightshades to me are inflammatory, so I would still caution those, do them periodically. But understanding that in a natural spring, those are more commonly had foods. Even the colorful like vegetables, like red and yellow peppers. I think of that all the time because those are like my favorite. And to go to just green peppers during the deep spring, like we've been doing, was fine, but I really like my peppers. Now, heading into summer now means slowly incorporating some of the higher carbohydrated vegetables, such as sweet potatoes or yams, and then also incorporating maybe some low glycemic fruits like the berries. That is kind of what summer means. I'm having a little bit of a moment right now because didn't think I had this anymore. Whew, just goes to show you do. My first challenge when I was in this part of the challenge, I had issues with going back into summer. I know you're probably saying, but we spent weeks and weeks at the beginning. Oh my gosh, is this going to ever end? I didn't want to be here. But once I was in spring, and even now this time in spring, your clarity of mind comes back. My joint pain goes away. The first time I was able to finally go up and down stairs without holding onto the railing. I got off of my depression meds the first time, and I started releasing weight. That makes sense when you understand where this, at this point, where my fear kicked in. When I was going through my first challenge, and even like I said, it takes me back there almost every time I think of this. When I go back into sugar burning, that word back to and sugar are my trigger words and feelings that create the fear of being 370 plus pounds again. And I didn't want to go back there. I was finally feeling good. My first challenge, I was like finally feeling good. I don't want to risk it. To me, that meant losing control. Understanding that I knew, yes, we're supposed to go through these seasons, but maybe I'll dip my toe in, but I'm not doing it. Those blocks came up for me. Even with my newfound mentality of not putting guilt and shame on myself, to me, moving into sugar burning mode meant 370 pounds. It was like an instant connection. This is where working in my community and having a coach helped me slow that process down, slow that thinking down, create some steps in the middle that have to occur, knowing that it's not going to take me instantly from having some berries to being 370 plus pounds, understanding it's a process, understanding that I have control and ways of interrupting that ahead of time, implementing the tools that I've learned so that I won't ever get to that again. Now, obviously, as you saw, I got emotional. The fear is still there, but we can utilize that to our benefit, and which is what I do now. I now understand what that is, where that's coming from, and now I can make better choices for myself. So let's talk about spring into summer. So we don't want to just dive in and just incorporate everything instantly. Similar to when we're fasting and you fast for a little bit, you don't want to add a heavy meal as your first meal right after fasting. We want to slowly incorporate things, not only for ease of digestion, but to also do some work on those foods and see how those foods feel in our body and how they make us feel. Now that we're in more of a detoxed or clean state, fat burning mode, that's really what that is. We're in a state of keto, our body's in ketosis, we're in fat burning. It's doing its inventory so efficiently right now. By introducing things slowly, our body's going to be like, oh, okay. And it's going to start digesting that, understanding and how is your body feeling with those foods? Because your body and my body may react differently depending on, what's and how we grew up. Like the microbiome in our stomach makes a big difference. Our natural epigenetics make a difference. So understanding how things react in your body are important. So if you're dousing everything at one time, you can't pick what it was that was triggering something. So by only doing a few things at a time, you can slowly understand what foods. Maybe it's tomatoes that are really bad for you, so you're going to cut back on your tomato products. Maybe it's zucchinis, maybe it's eggplants, right? You don't know until you slowly incorporate things into your diet and understand what and look at what that timeline means. So with that being said, since we've been in a deep spring, we're going to be introducing for the first few days some of the natural spring items back in. We're going to be having some of the, maybe the colorful peppers. We're going to have some carrots, you know, if you want to have parsnips or beets, those sort of things, just for a couple of days. Again, easing our body into it. And then we're going to start working on the summer foods, maybe some berries or some sweet potatoes or yams, and incorporating some of that. Again, we're doing this as a group. We're doing this as a group so that if any of those sugar monsters or that food monster comes into play, playing tricks with your head, you have a group of people and a team and coaches to help you along the way, to help you through that, help you with how to work that dialogue, help you drawing out that dialogue, help you understanding where those decisions are coming from. Because that is part of where my block came from, was feeling I had to do it on my own. And I no longer have to do it on my own. I, even living Wild Fit now, still utilize the support of not only my first 90-day challenge group, but the current challenge group, my coaching certification group. There are so many people and resources that you get along the way. So I hope this information was helpful for you. I'm so looking forward to heading into some summer, getting in a little bit more of the lower, glycemic fruits, maybe some berries. I'm so excited. Oh, I forgot to mention, you'll even realize that your taste buds will be waking up. You're going to eat something and it's going to be sweet to you. I don't know if I mentioned that, but like celery to me now tastes sweet. Celery. First time I had a blueberry, it wasn't tart, it was sweet. So you will be shocked after you've actually done like a detox type of elimination diet. And as you introduce new things in, your taste buds and your body is now more vibrant and more awake. And you're going to be able to truly taste things the way they're meant to be, like they're a true flavor. So thank you so much, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for joining my blog and following me along on my journey. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care, be safe, and I'm sending you all many, many blessings. Bye-bye.